Okay, we're on Shabbat Perek Chaf Daled Mishnah Gimel, chapter 24, third Mishnah. We're going to continue talking about ways they fed animals. So in ancient times, it seems that they actually force-fed the animals quite a bit. Says the Mishnah, En ovsin et hagamal velo dorsin. Okay, ovsin and dorsin are both kinds of force feeding. The Bartanura says the following. Ovsin means ma'achilinoto al korcho. You feed it against its will by force. V'tochvino bigrono, and you stick it into its throat. Uperush ovsin. Ovsin means ovsin la evos betoch me'eha. Evos, to show you the jastro, and evos is a feeding receptacle. So the Kahati explains that when the camel was going on a long journey, we think that the hump is for water, but it's not. The hump is actually fat. So the animal the camels had to be able to go long distances, not just without drinking, but without eating also, because you couldn't carry that much feed. So to make a storage receptacle means, so the Kahati says it doesn't necessarily mean force feeding. The Bartanura says force feeding. The Kahati means it says to just overfeed it and overfeed it. You want to feed the animal on Shabbat, that's great. But overfeeding is already like preparing for after Shabbat. So you can't do that. The Bartanura says it means to force feed it. Velo dorsin, the Bartanura says, you forcing it into its throat. It's not as bad as ovsin. So the Bartanura seems to think it's like a level of, it's different levels of force feeding. Aval malitin. What is malitin? Malitin tochev lo ma'achal lemakom she'achol lachzir. You stick it in its mouth, or you can stick it even down its throat, but it can bring it back up. You're not forcing it literally to forcing it to eat. Similarly, ve'ein mamrim et agalim. Okay, you're not allowed to fatten up agalim, the calves. Aval malitim. Again, fattening up. How would they do it? Lashon v'chele miriim. Perush hamra'ah. What does it mean to be mamriim? Shetochev ma'achal lifnim mi beit abliya. You're sticking the food down into its throat. B'makom she'eni yachol lachzir. They didn't mess around. This was done all the time. It seems enough for the Mishnah to know that they did it all the time. They would force feed the animals. The animal's there too. You're fattening it up to slaughter. You want to be able to eat as much as possible. It sounds like very much like what they do with geese nowadays in order to make foie gras. But you can stick the food in its mouth as long as it doesn't have to. You're not forcing it down. Umehalkitin letarnagolim. What is mahalkitin? Look at the Bartanura. Shetochev ma'achal letof pi b'machom she'achol lachzir. It's the same thing, but the mahalkitin is for chickens. V'notni ma'im la morsan. They would feed morsan is bran. They would feed bran for the animals. I think it's for the birds, maybe. I don't know. Okay. You could put water in the bran. Avalogovlim, but you're not. Where's my cursor? There you have logovlim, but you can't mix it. You're not going to need it, even in a permissible manner. That's extra tircha on Shabbat. The animal will eat it on its own. And also remember, schlepping water was a big pain. There was not like a hose. You had to carry all the water. You had to draw water. So the issue of tircha is a relevant issue. You don't put water. You don't need to give water to your bees or to give it to your yonim or doves in the dove cove. But you do put it in front of the geese, in front of the chickens. Remember the Herodian doves. It was a certain kind of dove that they had in their times, that Herodian, that Hordos HaMelech had. And remember, they kept doves as food. They weren't flying around the place. Turtle doves was something they ate all the time. So they had these doves that they would fatten up, and they weren't flying anywhere. They were pretty fat. So you're allowed to bring water. You're allowed to draw water in order to water these birds on Shabbat, because you have to feed them. Again, we'll stop here. As always, comments or questions, email me at arsporter@gmail.com. And we'll dedicate our learning to the memory of my father, Rav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Have a great day.